Hello, everybody, and welcome back to episode 3 of this season's Good vs. Evil podcast. I am your host, Andrew Rigby, and with my co-host, Mr. Kyle Miller. Kyle, how are we doing today?
Oh, not bad. Hangover free. Feeling like a human again, and
Yes, your host of the podcast inadvertently met up on Saturday night.
Yes.
Had a bit far too many, and yesterday was just basically hungover recovery. Kids, do not do it. It's not worth it.
there's a reason why they call it your poison, because it indeed does kill a lot of the good things that are in your body. And yes, and
Why did we have to go on the tequila? Like, come on.
I can't remember who initiated it. It might be me. Who knows?
It definitely wasn't me. I'm the responsible one here.
I've never said I was ever responsible. So, I will take the blame for this one, people. There was some tequila involved.
But good fun, though.
But good fun, yes. You have to unwind after a week of working, so.
Indeed.
Yes.
Indeed. Mel, you wanted to start off the podcast with a very important issue, which is not football related, but something we feel like we have to bring up.
Yes, I seen about half an hour ago on Twitter that there was an earthquake that had struck Turkey and Syria.
2 earthquakes now.
Yeah, man, and many of people are sadly missing and are being searched for under rubble, including some people might know former Chelsea and Newcastle player Atsu. I think he's now playing in Turkey.
Yeah.
And he scored a free kick yesterday, funnily enough. Quite a nice goal that was. And now he is being searched for by probably everyone's searching for everyone. Loved ones who are lost from the rubble. So I'm sending out my best wishes to him and all the other people, and wish them all well and get them home safe.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we like to keep this podcast very happily. We want to escape from real world, but I think it also kind of demonstrates that, although we talk, football is all our lives, it dictates our mood. I wouldn't talk about Liverpool. There are so many more important things and whatnot in life, and there's so much going on in the world. Of course, Ukraine, that war with Russia's still going on, so. That's another thing. And obviously 2 earthquakes back to back. I think it was 1,400 for the first one that's been confirmed dead, 1,500 for the second.
Jesus. It's
just absolutely abysmal, and our prayers go out to everyone involved, all the families, everyone around the area. We wish you all the best. The prayers are for you. And yeah, we're all thinking of you here at the Good vs. Evil podcast, for everyone around the world as well.
Yes.
And whatnot. So we thought it was important to say that. I mean, we don't know how far this podcast reached. We're in very early beginnings at the moment and whatnot. But if somehow we do have any listeners from that part of the world, which I highly doubt, our prayers are for you, and yeah, stay safe and all that sort of stuff.
So you'd be surprised the reach. The YouTube channel I used to do back in the day, we would have viewers from Argentina and South Africa. Don't know how that happened, but yes, it might one day reach some weird country in the backwaters of nowhere. But just hope, people, wherever you may be, we will also be there.
Do us a favour, guys. Listen, there'll be people that we actually know that are listening and whatnot, but just put down in the comments what country at least you're from. It'd be interesting to see if there were anyone from outside the UK. I say we're very early starting and whatnot, but we want to reach the worldwide community. So do let us know in the comments where you are from.
And if you're one of your replies to the country thing and you say is Beeve, then I will gladly say that is not a country, that is a swamp.
Gee, you can't say that. You can't. Why you? Oh, well, I know why you're hating on beef, but come on. Anyway, moving on from that, this is a football podcast, and it is called The Good vs. Evil.
Apparently,
on
yes.
our logo, it says Chelsea as the evil and Liverpool as the good. But I think at the moment they're both evil because they're both doing terribly.
Evil in our stories.
But Chelsea obviously have strengthened their squad immensely. In the last time we recorded this pod, it was the day before the transfer deadline day, and Miller, you were praying that Todd Bowley was listening, and he would get you this Argentinian central midfielder called Enzo Fernandez.
I told you people, Todd Bowley listens to the podcast. I told you all. I
seen you tweet him as well with our pod.
Yeah, I told you that I was going to tweet my good friend Todd. Hello Todd, thank you for listening to the pod. Thank you.
Imagine Todd Bowley would listen to our podcast. That would be ridiculous.
I'm
sure he's got better things.
He
to do.
jumps into Chelsea fan sites on YouTube. People have seen him jump into the chat, and all I'm going to say is,
I don't know how I feel about helping Chelsea Football Club with a potential sign. I don't like this. I don't like my name being part of this nonsense.
Well, you're stuck in it now, man. Just like we're stuck in.
I wish FSG listened to ours. He clearly doesn't.
Just like we're stuck in the abyss of footballing misery, which, yes.
But you know, you got your man.
Got him.
100. What was it? 107 in the end. It's a British transfer record.
Yes, or was around 100 odd than that, and it's a weird thing.
Be honest, right? Because the question has to be asked. First of all, is the fee justified?
I've always said that I don't think any of the fees are justified for any of the players these days. But
for what he's done in the game so far, albeit yes, he's part of the Argentina squad, but
sadly,
we spoke I think last week about the fact that Liverpool overspent on Nunes because we had to beat off the competition. Is there a sense of this again that Chelsea put in a ridiculous fee that no one else would match?
I think it's because it's World Cup tax and also it's the release clause. So we kind of had to, you know, if we want them, we're going to need to pay that, you know.
Was there a fear that if you waited till the summer, you'd have a bit more competition?
No, strangely, because of it, Benfica did say if we let them have him until the end of the season, they'd sell them for 88 mil. But
I mean, it's 19 mil difference for Chelsea. That's pocket change.
But because of the new contract thing that we've done, which is ending in the summer, it's actually cheaper annually getting them now, which is really weird, people, because it shouldn't make sense, but these Americans are savvy. It's apparently because of the 8.5 year contract we've offered them, it's roughly about 12 to 14 mil a year for them, which that's what it says on paper. But then if we got them in the summer for 20 mil less, it would be 17 mil a year, which is even weird in itself. But Todd Bowley's going, well, it's cheaper any way you look at it. So it's weird, but also we need him now because as we've seen in the Chelsea Fulham game, I was loving. I've not seen that since Fabregas in a Chelsea team. I've not seen it since Fabregas. It was great. You could see that the new players somehow had a better grasp of how to play for Chelsea than the senior players did. Apart from Thiago Silva, he's in a whole league of his own. But I was sitting there going, these guys like Mount, Havertz, all that, they're all sitting there clueless. And these young guys, Badiashile, Enzo, they're all putting a shift in. And I'm sitting there going, we need to get the rest of this dead weight out. And as soon as all these players are fully gelled, then we're seeing I've seen improvements. Bear in mind, we did draw 0-0, but
I fell asleep.
It was better than losing to them.
I fell asleep watching that game after 10 minutes. I was asleep, and I did not wake up till the 89th minute. And I got told by all my mates, what have I missed? Nothing. But, you know, at the end of the day, compared to how we're doing, that's not a bad result, I suppose. I mean, Fulham are high flying. Obviously, they beat you a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, it's improvements.
Mudryk probably didn't have a very good game, but it's early days.
But even so, he didn't have a good game. But then we got to bring on the English guy we got from PSV.
Madueke, sorry.
I didn't even watch how to say his name, but then he looked good. And I'm sitting going, that's something that's encouraging, because if one of them aren't playing too great, we can just bring the other one on. Like, it's like we've now got that sense of depth, something we've also not had in a long time.
You had Sterling back as well.
Yeah, it's do you know what I'm wishing for? I wish when all these players came in, we had a pre-season, because they now need to learn fast, and they need to now adapt, sink or swim, and we've got Dortmund soon. That's going to be a test, and yeah, I've seen signs of encouragement. Enzo looked amazing. Badiashile looked solid as usual. That's another clean sheet for him. Him and Thiago Silva forming a nice wee partnership there. We're looking good. I seen encouragement. I watched the game. I wouldn't say it was boring. It was quite exciting. We hit the post a couple of times. We looked like there was an idea there. Enzo was hitting long lobs left and right. I was amazed, and I was sitting there. I was like, well, out of all the midfield maestros this week, I think he outdone most of them. And
Yeah.
we'll speak about some of those other troublemakers later on. But yep, very encouraging. I'm very happy. Obviously, I'm not happy with the draw, but I'm happy with what I've seen. And I think we just need. No, wait a second here. There was one moment in the game for Dastro Fofana came on, right? And this lovely, beautiful man decided to skin like 3 people, and he's quite a physical guy. He's not like most skillful, but he just does everyone in, and then nearly scores, and then after his chances missed, he's then chasing the defender to the corner flag to get the ball back again for another chance, and I'm just like, what? We signed this man for 12 mil from Mulder, people. This man was not one of the marquee. This guy's a one for the future, so I am buzzing. I can see direction. I can see hope. And like I've said in the pod many of times, just get me to next season, and that's when I'll properly start getting more into what we're doing. But yeah, positive signs, and I have nothing really to complain about apart from the fact it was only a draw. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it'll come. It'll come.
Yeah.
I think I asked you this shit last week, but I'll ask you again. Chelsea at £300 million. Yes, you need time to gel the players, but have Chelsea got to get in the top 4, or do you think you have an owner now that is going to accept that it may be a little bit? You brought these players in a little bit too late. They need a pre-season and then go again properly next season, or do you think Chelsea are still the same and they're still demanding top 4?
I think we should still be demanding top 4, because I think you don't want to change your identity too much, and Chelsea's identity, especially from the beginning of the Abramovich era, is you need to be getting into the Champions League every season, because that's where the lights are on you. That's the biggest football competition, club competition in the world. So you need your team to be in there, and no doubt the Americans will be going, for sponsors, for revenue, for all that spreadsheet stuff that they love. They want their team amongst the elite, and they want their team amongst all the best teams competing. And I think with their investment in mind, they want to be playing in the biggest competitions. So I think we should still be demanding it. Is it unrealistic? No. But is it possible? Yes. But it's a very difficult thing, especially now, to do. Considering we're just over halfway, it's going to be difficult. But just got to try our best, and the players are just going to need to gel whilst also battling for top 4. But I wouldn't be mad if we get 5th or 6th. I wouldn't be mad. I would just be like, right, we'll need to go again next season, and that's when the real work begins. But yes, speaking about, and this is a little segue for you. Speaking about challenging for top 4, the mighty Reds of Liverpool.
Not a chance. Not a chance. Not a chance. I mean, we spoke last week about it can't get any worse, surely.
Well,
and we obviously knew that we weren't going to sign anyone.
Yes.
Obviously, because the club came out after the Brighton game and said no, we're not going to sign anything. And I've watched I've read a lot of stuff. I've watched a lot of videos about what is going on with Liverpool. And I tell you what the main thing seems to be for the fans is there's no communication from the club about what we are doing. Because we keep hearing about Jude Bellingham, right? I don't think he is going to come now. I think we're too far gone. But let's say there is a plan for that. Why can't the club just come out and tell us, okay, we are not signing players in January because in the summer we have big plans. That's all they have to do. And do you know what? The fans would not be saying what they're saying online, even with the situation we're in on the pitch at the moment. There is so much uncertainty at the club. It's unreal. I mean, Liverpool used to be one of the best run clubs a couple of years ago. Everyone wanted to be Liverpool. And we are such a mess on and off the pitch. We can't get anything right. And all us fans need now is just someone to come out and just explain, this is what we're planning. So don't panic. Stick with the manager. Stick with us, because in the summer we are going to make it right. That's all they have to do.
Yeah.
But because that is not the case, Liverpool, we're all panicking. But let's be very, very clear. The performances are getting beyond a joke now. They really are getting beyond a joke. And the confidence is not there, rightly so. You can, if I was in that Liverpool 11, I'm sure my confidence would be shot as well.
Yeah.
But that 10 minutes against Wolves opener, it's not acceptable. You can't go 2-0 down away to Wolves, who are in the relegation zone after 10 minutes. And the goals are just comical. They really are bad goals to concede as well. The basics, it's a lack of taking initiative. It's second guessing everything that you're doing.
Yeah.
The players, I mean, the Wolves were up for it. I think the Wolves were still aggrieved about the FA Cup, to be honest with you. I think they were still angry about what happened in the home at Anfield.
So it should be.
And then obviously they never turned up for the second one, and we ended up getting a 1-0 win and all that. And I think and rightly so, they took all that anger, they brought all that anger into a positive result. And Liverpool turned up and were just praying that Wolves would just lay over and afford us, and we'd have an easy, comfortable 1-0 win again, like in the FA Cup. And rightly so to Wolves, they didn't do that. And they took the initiative, and it's painful being a Liverpool fan. I think there's a horrible video of the last 2 or 3 minutes of the game that Wolves played 60 passes with no Liverpool player anywhere near them. 60 passes? I mean, it's ridiculous that, and no Liverpool player wants to get close, and they're all going, Olé, and it's just not, it's not good enough for Liverpool. I think Paul Merson said it right.
Yeah.
You never want a player to go in and hurt somebody, but but you want a Liverpool player to just do a little foul, just show you stop taking the mickey out of us here. Let's be honest, we're Liverpool Football Club. We're one of the most successful teams in European football in this country and whatnot. We have been for the last couple of years as well, and you're just taking the absolute mickey out of us, and it's worrying. It's really, really worrying. But all I want to hear the club do, come out and just tell us, we've got a plan for the summer.
Yes.
And you know what? We'll live with it, and we'll get behind the team again. And all right, we won't get top 4, but we can get behind the team. And right now we can't, because we don't know what's going on. But there's some players that need to have a look at themselves in the mirror. They really, really do. I mean, we can't score a goal for life of us.
You couldn't find a point on a sharp blade, and that's something. As jokey aside as it is, it seems to be true. But you should have been doing what we done in a different sense of, we kind of showed our plan of what we were wanting, because the Potter out things were spreading like wildfire. It was ridiculous. We've even got this little old chestnut up on the trending Pep to Chelsea. That's just a joke. I've seen most of them. It's all the stuff going on in Man City. We're
going to talk about Man City in depth, and Arsenal, so do not worry.
Which we will go into, but at least we showed, by backing the manager despite the poor results, at least we showed, right, this is what we're doing, and expect more in the summer. But with yous there's nothing. It's literally as if you're on mute, as if you're in airplane mode, and there's nothing going on. Like, all yous know is that you're playing again. That's the little thing yous know, is that you're going to be playing again And
None of that 11, none of that Liverpool squad for me, apart from maybe Harvey Elliott and maybe a couple of young kids, actually want to be playing football right now, by looks of things, for me. They are so shot of confidence and whatnot. And that comes from the media, that comes from playing for Liverpool Football Club. You are in, possibly, you could argue, you've got Liverpool in a situation where we've not been in for a little bit of time. To be fair, it was only 10 years ago we were in this situation where we couldn't even get anywhere near top. We were playing terrible football. We were so leaky at the back. I'm talking about Roy Hodgson days and whatnot.
Stuart Downing era.
But I mean, the downfall of players like Fabinho, Trent, Salah, it's just... You talk about players who were the world class last year, absolute world class, top of their powers. Nobody could touch them. And they're struggling. You wonder how many of the Premier League clubs they get into in their form at the moment. I mean, it's that bad. And when an 18-year-old... I keep bringing them up, right?
Is this a Spanish kid you're about to talk about?
Chetic, when he's the only player who seems to show a little bit of composure, a bit of fight, it's always very, very worrying and whatnot. And I mean, you asked the question, are we going to get top four? Not a chance in hell, because Liverpool can't get a run together. I mean, we've got the Merseyside derby coming up next week. I'm telling you right now, I'm terrified.
And that's saying something, people.
And this is not even at Goodison. Like, normally at Goodison Park, I do worry anyway, because they always seem to get a draw. It's always difficult. Goodison Park's always hard to go to. But we're at Anfield, and you know what? I am terrified.
And Sean Dyche, the beautiful ginger Dutchman himself, he obviously, we'll speak about more what he done in a second, but...
Sean Dyche isn't Dutch, is he?
No, he's just ginger.
Oh, right, okay, I see what you're going with.
And he is going to get a reaction out of those players. He is going to go, right, we are where we are, they are where they are, go out and put in a performance. He'll then go, if Wolves can do it, don't see why we can't do it, and he'll push.
Well, let's talk about that. Obviously, Everton. So, obviously, we were delighted to bring you, as we seem to. The first two episodes we brought you some breaking news about Everton.
Yes,
and whatnot. Obviously, Sean Dyche was hired.
He was.
And whatnot. First game in charge. What does he do? He goes and takes down the current league leaders, Arsenal, at Goodison Park.
You'll love to see it.
Comfortably as well, I've got to say. This wasn't a game where Arsenal created loads of chances, couldn't get the ball in net, and Everton got a set piece and scored. Everton could have scored way more than they actually did.
That was a Sean Dyche display. That was a Sean Dyche game right there. Defend, and then as soon as you get that glimmer of chance, you have to execute.
The Everton players loved every minute of playing under Sean Dyche in that game. They were smiling. They wanted to run that extra yard. They were absolutely superb. They really were, and they cut Arsenal out. To be fair, they really did. I mean, I think Arsenal were due a loss, but we'll talk about Arsenal in a second, because I do want to give Everton credit where it is due.
Yes, extremely.
Absolutely. I mean, midfield were very good. Onana looked very good. Idrissa Gana Gueye. I mean, that's why they brought him back, for that tenacity, that work rate, that desire.
We actually made a bid for Onana, and he said no. He said no. I was like, is it me? He'd rather fight relegation.
Well, the Everton player you haven't gone for yet. You went for Anthony Gordon.
He'd rather fight relegation than fight sleep than come to Chelsea. But yeah,
Alex Iwobi looked very good as well.
Yeah.
Having Calvert-Lewin though back is just so good for Everton.
Oh, he's so good.
Like, he brings
when he's fit.
He gets a focal point into the attack for Everton. I mean, the amount of time he managed to get balls into the box, and Calvert-Lewin is there, and he's got good pace as well, so he can actually stretch teams as well. He's so important to Everton. If they can keep him fit, they've got every chance of staying in the Premier League, because one result is not going to change the fact of where they are. Of course, but ironically, Wolves beating us put them back in the bottom three, which was the only silver lining, I suppose. But yeah, give Everton credit.
Yeah. When he came in, we were like, yeah, he can do something. He knows what he has to do, and that's to survive.
There was a lot of negativity actually the day after he got appointed, because they didn't get any signings over the line. Although he said in many interviews that they were working tirelessly. No one wants to come to them. It was as simple as that, and it wasn't the right player. So it is what it is. No point, I guess, bringing players in for the sake of it, as Sean Dyche said, and. Yeah,
and he's got a squad there that are capable. So it's not as if like the signings were needed. They just need some confidence in them. They just need that little breath of fresh air, that nudge, and they've got it. And let's not go too far into it, because it's only one game. But
let's talk about their opposition, Arsenal. Is it a blip, or is this a sign of things to come? They haven't lost many games this season.
I think it was just wrong place, wrong time. They got put in front of Dyche in his first game and they suffered. I think they'll be fine.
I think Gary Neville's mentioned this quite a few times. Like, this is
Of course he would.
No. I'll give him credit as it should, because I actually agree with him. This is actually the first normal Premier League season we've had in a good 5 or 6 years, in terms of that. Even the top teams are actually losing a couple of games, because obviously when Liverpool and City were going toe to toe, they maybe would only lose to each other, or maybe lose that extra one game or whatever it is. This season, everybody has lost a few games, even at the top. So it is quite a normal Premier League season. I think I did watch the game. I wouldn't say there was necessarily anything too wrong with Arsenal's approach. I think maybe I do agree with you that it was just. They were just victims of an Everton team that just had nothing to lose. A new manager that gave them a lot of confidence. Obviously, it's not ideal. Arsenal fan Mano, who listens to our pod, also did say that he felt that they probably needed a loss somewhere, just to sort of keep the heads on the ground and not think that they're running away with it. Obviously, the result happened yesterday after the game after definitely means that you can look at it like that, I suppose. But I think Kessie had a big chance in the second half. We just blasted it over the bar and whatnot. But 1-0 away at Goodison Park, it's not ideal. But I would call that I would just call that unlucky, and they probably will bounce back. I don't know if they've got next weekend. Actually, I can have a look. Yeah, I wouldn't call it. I just call that a one-off. Hopefully for them, anyway.
Yeah. It's just wrong place, wrong time. You've got an Everton team that
Arsenal home to Brentford next week.
See, they're quite mixed with Brentford, because Brentford like to put in a performance against Arsenal. So we'll see what happens there. What are the other games? While we're on this little topic of discussion.
So you've got West Ham v Chelsea, the Saturday lunchtime kick-off.
Delicious.
Trying to think.
I can watch that. I'm not working until the evening, so that's alright.
The other big teams: Leeds, Manchester United, and then Manchester City, Aston Villa, and then it's the Merseyside derby.
What day is Merseyside derby?
It's the Monday.
Oh, Monday Night Football!
And then 2 days later, it's actually Arsenal Man City. That's going to be a hell of a game.
Oh, right, people. Wait a second here. So Monday Night Football, Liverpool, Everton.
Yes.
Let me have a little look, people. See, people. This is where I start to get the old phone out, because I need to check my availability, because I want to see if I.
Well, while Miller does that, I'll move on to.
I don't have my rota yet, people, but I will find out for you, and I will update you on Twitter. But I want to watch that game, because who goddamn even knows what's going to happen in that game?
Well, we'll do a wee preview of that next week.
Yes.
And whatnot, but I think the pod will not be next Monday though, because I'm away, unfortunately. But
yes.
We'll do it the day after. We'll do a big preview for that game, because that's a huge game. But anyway, moving on. I guess the reason though Arsenal fans are probably not panicking is that the day after, Manchester City go and lose to Tottenham 1-0. Harry Kane, their all-time record goal scorer.
I said that I expected Tottenham to get a result against City. I just had that feeling, and I was right, people. I was right. Tottenham got the result that they needed. Kane got his moment. And can Kane leave now, knowing that he's got that record on him? Can he now finally leave and go win a trophy somewhere? Who knows? That's not a diss in Tottenham. It's just a man that has scored over 200 league goals has not won a league, or Champions League, a League Cup.
I have breaking news.
Oh dear.
Apologies to break up. We will talk about that game in a second.
Harry Kane has went to Real Madrid. Is that what it is?
No.
No?
Leeds United have sacked Jesse Marsch.
Wait a second here. Are you telling me Leeds United have sacked Yank Lampard?
That's outrageous. That I'm actually annoyed at myself for laughing at that.
Everyone, I caught him off guard. He did not expect that. But Yank Lampard has been sacked from Leeds United. Not only has Fat Frank been sacked from Everton, but Fat Yank has been sacked from Leeds. He wasn't there long, was he?
11 months. I want to get your thoughts on this, because this is very interesting timing Shout out to Greek Ryan, one of my mates who's in my Discord.
Lampard to Leeds.
That who's a Leeds fan who has brought this to my attention.
Good goodness.
This is interesting because you've just had the transfer window and whatnot. Is this a reactive in terms of how Everton are doing after getting Sean Dyche? Do you think there's a little bit of reacting to that because they lost to Nottingham Forest yesterday? So that's another rival. I think that's Leeds in the relegation zone as well. I think they're still in the relegation zone. But is it the timing that maybe is a bit off on this one, do you think?
I honestly don't know anymore. Everyone's been sacked left and right.
Well, they're not. I can tell you they're not in the relegation zone because of the goal difference. They actually have a game in hand over Everton. I think, let's be honest, whoever was going to take over from Bielsa was going to have a tough job because of what he done for the club as a whole and whatnot. But Bielsa had to go for me. It got to a point where it was untenable and whatnot. And he came in and they got a reaction, as you always do. I think they are still a bit too open at the back. To an extent, I think they are a little bit too easy to score against still. And I think in the attack, they're still a bit toothless. I mean, getting Bamford back is massive for them. But he hasn't played a lot of Premier League football this season, and it showed against Forest yesterday. His touch was a bit off and all that. This one does surprise me, though. This one does. I'm not sure whether this was the right decision. I don't watch too much Leeds, but I do try to keep up with every team. When I have seen them, they still show that passion, I think, for me, but they are getting dangerously close to getting stuck in that bottom three, and I think this is a little bit of reacting to what Everton did last week for me. I think this is the case, and obviously losing to Forest yesterday is a big problem for them.
But like, who do you get in with the experience of doing that? Do you get Big Sam? Like, who do you get? Like, who is out there available to save this Leeds team? Like, no doubt there'll be many of names linked by 7 o'clock tonight, and we're going to be sitting there going, oh, this. But who in the right minds would you bring in that is suitable for a job? Because you can't bring in a Lampard, you can't bring in a Gerrard, because they're not going to get that.
So I'm looking at an article from the Shields Gazette, which I assume is a Leeds newspaper. And they are saying that it's the early favourite for the role is FK Bodo / Glimt boss Kajeto Knutson. I don't know if that's how I'm saying it right.
Don't have a clue who that is.
But you know, I guess fair enough. Rafa Benitez is 25.
Oh Jesus, is he still alive?
Hey, you leave Rafa alone. I mean, you get them defensively sound, but I'm not sure these fans would take to his style of football. Scott Parker. That wouldn't be a bad shout for me, Scott Parker.
Is he only just got a new job?
Possibly, but I mean, if there's a Premier League job going, he'd probably just tell him to get lost.
Mm-hmm.
And Mauricio Pochettino is always in there.
Oh
as
God!
Well.
Oh no! Imagine.
Those are the early front runners at the moment, according to the Shields Gazette, and whatnot. Bielsa could maybe come back. Would they do that, or do you think he's kind of washed his hands with them now?
I think he should. Because...
But would they get the reaction? Because I think with Bielsa, I mean, the reason he didn't get the Everton job was he wanted a certain amount of time away to assess if the players were right for him to play his style. Leeds haven't got that time. They need someone to come in straight away, get them some results, get them away from that relegation zone. I mean, that's what Leeds need. If anything, they need to actually bring in a manager that can just come in for like 4 or 5 months, get them in, keep them in the Prem, and then if they want a long-term solution after that, then they do that in the summer. And if that's who you need, I don't know who you go for at the moment.
Serious note, is Big Sam available for a 6-month stint?
It would be interesting. I mean,
that's not a bad thing.
You know, you wonder maybe do you need to bring in somebody like that, because at the end of the day you're in a bit of a conundrum. He will he's got such a good track record. Maybe who knows?
Also,
Roy Hodgson.
Gus Hiddink, like what? There's so many. Gus Hiddink.
No.
Gus Hiddink, people, a legend. They need to do something. Do they go for Gio Van Bronckhorst? Like who do they go for? Like, we're chucking about names as if we're picking them out of a hat and just launching them at people. But seriously, if there's even half a Leeds fan watching this podcast,
Ryan will be listening to it.
put in the comments, my friend, who do you want in? Who, and in a realistic term, who do you expect to come in? Who's available? And like, what manager would even suit the style of the identity of the team? Like, what
Well,
even?
do you want to hear Leeds' next fixtures?
Oh dear goodness!
They have got Manchester United back to back.
Oh,
It's actually weird. It's obviously because the fixtures have to be rescheduled. So they've actually got Manchester United this Wednesday.
oh dear!
At Old Trafford.
Oh good
And then
God!
you see the following Sunday,
Oh.
they play them at their place.
Oh Jesus!
And then you've got two huge games after that: Everton away, Southampton at home.
Right, so they need to get a manager in before those two games because those are relegation rivals. You need to be beating them if you want to stay up. If they lose to both of them, then they're going to slip into that bottom three, maybe even bottom two, and they might not even get out of it.
Season's a final that against Everton.
Because once you're in that relegation zone, you think your confidence is low now. Just wait till you're in those spots, and then it'll eat you up and spit you out. But
they signed Weston McKennie, didn't they? Leeds off Juventus. Is that where he went
they did.
to?
No, that's also they're making all these. They're not buy Rutter as well.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So they're buying all these players and they're sacking the manager straight away.
I listen. At the end of the day, there seems to have been some problems with the relationship with some of the board as well. Maybe it's a bit of that. I think this is, in my personal opinion, I could be wrong here. Let me know if you agree in the comments, guys. This is reacting to Everton.
I think if they didn't spend the money and bring in those 2 or 3 players, then sack them is just justified. But see if you're letting them bring in these players from top European teams, don't get it twisted, and then sack them right after the transfer window closes. I don't see that as being very right. I just don't.
Yeah.
See if they didn't sign those players, didn't spend the money. Fair play, because you haven't backed him. So you go, well, clearly didn't see a future with him. But if they're giving him money and they're giving him these players, like clearly they did see some sort of planning.
Yeah.
So I think they've just went, oh, and they've just done a bipolar reaction and they've now sacked him. But I mean, I don't really care.
Anyway,
it's,
I do apologise for cutting into our analysis of the City Tottenham game. We're going to continue that now, but credit is credit's due. We've got another breaking news story in the flesh. We're getting very good at this. Next week, what's going to happen? Klopp's probably going to be sacked by then.
Imagine.
I refuse. By the way, I want to acknowledge that I know we didn't even mention that in this pod. Simply because I don't know the answer. I think I'm still Klopp in. I still am, but I think there's more problems in the manager, in my opinion. So I don't even want to justify that just yet. But in case you wonder why we didn't mention that in the pod. But going back to City and Spurs, Harry Kane, phenomenal, great stuff.
Yeah.
Ironically, against City, who he almost joined 18 months ago, he was pushing to get that move going, and then obviously he does this. I don't. Did you? Were you working yesterday? You were working, so you probably didn't watch the match. But I'll tell you something. Højbjerg had a blinder of a match. He's normally a boxer. He's more of a defensive midfielder.
Yes.
And he was more of a box to box, but he was like they're attacking mid. He was absolutely effort on the pitch. He's actually the one that anticipates the bad pass from Chelsea that puts Harry Kane basically with a tap in. He was phenomenal. Højbjerg. He's actually desperate to score. I think he had 3 or 4 opportunities. Yeah, not clear cut ones and whatnot, but they do it again. Do you know what? That's I think the 4th or 5th game now in the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium City have played, and they still haven't scored a goal.
Bro, I've been saying this. I said last week. Is like whenever Tottenham are playing City, I somehow, for some weird reason, it's not weird anymore because it's become a frequent thing. Whenever Tottenham play City, I'm like, I think Tottenham are going to get a result here, because it seems to be all the time. It seems to be. And I said this last week, it's ever since the Champions League fiasco with both of them. And I think since that Champions League game where City were robbed, in quotations, that there's somehow a lot of juju that's been created, and City can always go to, Tottenham can always look at City and go, let's give it to them.
Yeah.
And they did. And is that, and especially when Arsenal finally lose, City should be going right. We need to win. We need to win because Leeds back on.
Have City got a problem?
Yes,
Because our City. So
they shouldn't have a problem.
I've mentioned this before. I think the reason that City are not on a downfall at Liverpool is because they were never a chaotic team. They always have control of the ball. So it's really, they're never going to get battered or overrun in that sense. But in the attack, have they got too many different style of attackers in the team to an extent that they are almost sort of struggling about which player to play strengths to in that sense? Because all I kept hearing was Haaland's making all these direct runs and they're not finding them. But City are not that sort of team. They like to control the game. They like to get further up the pitch and then they like to play those intricate passes in to give the striker basically a tap in rather than playing a quick forward pass to just let Haaland get in behind and whatnot. You've got they let Sterling go, who was obviously a big pace. Sterling and Jesus, big pace factors, loves to get in behind, make those runs, stretching the teams at times. I think that's why City was so dangerous last season because they didn't have an out-and-out striker, but they were unpredictable, I should say. You didn't know how to defend against them because they could change it in so many different ways.
Yeah.
Now you've got an actual centre forward of Haaland. I think there was a big argument with Jamie Carragher and Michael Richards were having actually. Carragher was saying, has Haaland picked the wrong club? And I think it's an interesting debate because for me, actually somebody mentioned this to us a couple of weeks ago and I actually ridiculed them for it. Shout out to Mano on that. That, Haaland maybe makes City a worse team because of the fact that he's desperate for them to play a certain way that he doesn't play their way, and it's kind of hampering their attack to an extent. Even though he's already got 25 goals.
Pep signed him. It's not as if Haaland signed Man City. It's not on Haaland. And Haaland has performed, especially from the start of the season, extremely well. He's not made City a worse team. They're just them as a unit.
City are not sustaining attacks anymore for me.
Yeah.
Every time I watch them, I'm waiting for them to have that 45, 50 minute period where you can't get the ball and they're attacking, and they get a couple of goals ahead and that's it. And they can't seem to do it. They didn't actually create too many chances yesterday. I mean, the closest they got was Riyad Mahrez's unbelievable shot which hit the bar at the end of the first half. I mean, I'm trying to think. Haaland never even really had a chance per se, to be honest with you, as far as I can work out. And it's becoming a slight bit of problem. I mean, City are going to get back in the transfer window. Although big news come out today, more breaking news, but not quite breaking news. It's been out for the last couple of hours. Is that City have been found to breach some spending rules? I think again by the Premier League. I mean, every couple of months we seem to hear about a story that City have allegedly breached some sort of financial rules. If I'm honest with you, I'm getting a little bit sick of it, to be honest, because at the end of the day, find them guilty then, if that's the case. If not, leave them alone to an extent.
Points deducted. Imagine.
I mean,
imagine that's how one of us get into the Champions League.
Oh, man. I tell you what.
No, do you know, right, people, I'm fantasy booking this scenario, right? It would be ironic as hell if City got deducted, let's say 10, 12, 15 points, right? They probably won't, but imagine, right? Fantasy booking, imagine. They get deducted all those points for financial fair play. And Chelsea, a team that love financial fair play, swoop in and take that Champions League spot. Imagine. It would be the greatest thing in the history of things. I would be laughing my head off because we've been barricaded with hate because of our spendings. It would be insane, and let's hope fantasy becomes reality. Because
let's take it back to the facts here. So I'll read. So if you have heard of it, but not you don't want to read into it because it's too complicated. What it says here on the Sky Sports app, I'll read what the paragraph is. So, Manchester City charged by the Premier League with numerous alleged breaches of financial rules.
Allegedly.
You always have to say that because they haven't been found guilty yet.
Yeah.
The Premier League has referred the case to an independent commission. Man City have come out with a statement saying they are surprised by the issuing of these alleged breaches, and they've added they are welcoming the review of this matter to put it to rest once and for all. So these breaches span over a period between the 2009-2010 season, to the 2017-2018 campaign. So, in that sense, if they have breached these rules and that has given them the advantage to go and do what they've done, be successful and whatnot, surely they've got to get some sort of big punishment and whatnot.
It happened to us. We were different. We were.
Well, you got a transfer ban, though. You didn't get a point deduction.
Yeah, but like we get punished because of our dealings with young players.
Mm-hmm.
But like we still get punished for doing something stupid. So it's only right that if City have been get found guilty, that they do get. I think they would be okay if they got a transfer ban. To be fair,
From what I've read, it seems as though there's indiscrepancies, shall we say, in some of the financial reports that have come out of City, basically. So it's an ongoing story. It's going to keep developing and whatnot, and we don't know too much, and we're going to be very careful what we say in terms of allegations and whatnot.
The envelope has been sent by carrier pigeon to pay off the officials doing the investigation, the independent investigation.
Indeed.
I'm not saying if it's euros or pounds in that envelope. All I'm saying is that they welcome the investigation.
Here's a question for you. See if City did get hit with a transfer ban, like Chelsea.
Yes.
How much trouble do you think that would put them in?
Not that much.
In terms of the squad?
Not that much.
Because you've got Riyad Mahrez, who I think is towards the back end of, is close into 30, or he might be just in 30. Kevin De Bruyne is in that bracket and whatnot. I'm trying to think of a few others. Jack Grealish is a bit more mid-20s, so that's not too bad. But you're not. I guess maybe they are not quite. They're not going to be as bad off as you think, and they have got a fantastic youth academy. I mean, they've brought that left back who's playing for them at the moment, and what is it,
Lewis? Yeah.
Seems to be doing a decent job. 18 years old as well. So maybe they wouldn't be in so much trouble in that regard, but it would hurt them, though, wouldn't it?
It would obviously hurt them because it would derail plans, and obviously.
They've just let João. We spoke brief last week about João Cancelo going on loan to Bayern, and he's never going to play for the club again. But
think of this: does that now change? Like, do they sell him?
I don't think it.
Now?
I've heard that he's never playing for the club again. They are selling him in the summer. He's off to. They couldn't get rid of him in January. So they let him go to Bayern till the summer, and he's going to go. He's going to go. Probably to Bayern. They're probably going to buy him. So, buy him. that rhymes. But
no.
It's an interesting story. But going back to the pitch very, very, very briefly, it's got to be a worry for City.
Yeah.
That left back position. If that Lewis gets injured, who have you got? I mean, the attack. They need to find a way of. And you never ever write off City. They're still doing probably better than most clubs in the Prem, so it's not so much of a crisis in that regard. But I think there's a lot of City fans who are just a little bit concerned with the fact of how much attacking power they actually do have, and they can't seem to blow teams away anymore to an extent.
Yeah.
So I mean, Arsenal City game next Wednesday is going to be unbelievable. See if Arsenal manage to win that, probably title done. Probably is title done.
Probably.
Because, you're running out of games and for City to go on a hell of a run and whatnot. So
City need to win that game if they have any hope of getting the title.
Well, I mean, the points are still... It's 5 points. If Arsenal go win their game in hand, then it goes to 8 points and, then you're laughing. But then if Arsenal beats City, that's 11 points, especially if they win that game in hand. So the gap keeps on growing and growing and growing.
As a neutral supporter, if City won and it get put to 2 points, I would be laughing because it then brings up a very tense end of the season if it's only a 2 point difference, and then you'll be looking towards all their games to go who's gonna flop and who and all that. But a crazy time ahead in this normal-ish Premier League season. And we will be covering all the madness, people. We will be covering all the crazy stuff. And
I just read a wee comment that's been put on the Twitter by our good friend Matty Mason. Thoughts on UEFA choosing not to take away Manchester City's Champions League titles? Badontes.
Shout out to that man, because that is hilarious. Is that the same man that tricked the fan base?
It is indeed.
Is this man a comedian?
He should be, shouldn't he?
I endorse him. Yeah. I mean, do you go and take their Champions Leagues off them? But do you? Can't take something off them they don't have. It's like taking candy from a baby, and the baby doesn't like candy. And yeah, it's. I think if they have allegedly committed these crimes against the footballing world, I would say punish them, because we got punished for things that we done. So it's only fit and it's only right that if another team does it, they should be punished. And if Chelsea were found guilty in the next few years of their dealings to do with this period of which we've spent, then I will hold my hands up and go, we take the punishment. Because there's rules and regulations in place to keep this crazy industry on its toes.
Yeah, I mean, football it has to get under control, because
Too much
the
corruption.
money is, and it's getting really, really out of control. We've got to get stability back into the way the financial part of football. I think it's getting a bit outrageous, to say the very, very least.
It's all these money men and all these crazy people. But it's
UEFA. It's the Premier League. It's all these who are not strong enough to, when the rules are broken or they find anything, to really put the hammer down. I mean, the Premier League are doing that, I suppose, to an extent now, but they've got to find them guilty. And if that's the case, they've got to slap them with a fine, and and whatever they need to do, and they've got to send a message.
I mean, look what happened to Juve. I mean, the things that Juve done, and then they get deducted points. Like it's. Yeah. I mean, Juve have had history previously.
It's your Juve's of the world. It's your PSG. It's your Cities. It's your Chelseas.
It's everyone.
You could argue it's your Real Madrid. I don't want to throw too many clubs under the bus, but there are certain clubs that we all know of that spend a lot of money, and you just wonder where does it all come from and how are they allowed to and whatnot. And we've got to get it under control, in my opinion. And do you know what? If City lose a couple of titles and whatnot, then that will make my. Do you know what? That will make my year. So that
I will also love it.
But City fans, all joking aside, if there are any, let us know your thoughts in the comments.
Imagine if they took away the Aguero title.
I think, do you know who would be?
Imagine
Martin Tyler. That's his moment, isn't it? That's like his moments that he reflects on. Goes, that's like that. That's every commentator's got a commentary that you always refer back to when you go with their greatest moments, and you've got to give that to Martin Tyler. But imagine he lost that. That would be incredible. But I think it's probably more likely to be points deductions than losing titles, in my opinion, because it's a grey area between. Did that cost that? You are going grey areas, so we'll have to wait and see how the story develops. But it's a massive.
Everyone, I'm calling for a petition. 20-point deduction, please. I want Champions.
I think they need more than 20 points.
I want Champions League. 20-point deduction.
I think we need more than 20 points.
25. 30.
I'll just kick them out.
Send them to League 2 and they can play Wrexham next season.
Wex. Oh dearie me. But shall we move on?
Yeah.
To some more generic football talk.
Oh.
Big game yesterday in the Serie A. The Milan derby.
Oh.
I noticed you are not. Well, you do actually still have your Milan jacket on, so fair play.
The Milan jacket is sitting over there. It's covered up, people. It's buried under.
They are down to 6th now, AC Milan, after that 1-0 defeat to Inter.
We've lost
for a team that won the league last season.
We've lost to Inter so many times. I don't think we've beat Inter this season. We've lost so many times in this season. It's actually unbearable. It's starting to hurt. It's the injuries and all that. It's just been awful. It's not as if we had crazy squad depth before. We're quite a nice, tight fitted piece of clothing, but no, this season has not been good for the Rossoneri, and we're just looking bang average, and a lot of folk calling for Poli to be sacked. And those people can just crawl under a bridge and stay there, because the man delivered.
Why did you think whenever the team starts underperforming, it has to be on the manager every time?
I don't know, because
sometimes it is. Let's be clear.
Yes,
sometimes it is,
but sometimes it's not, and. You can't blame one person for a whole company underperforming. And don't get me wrong, a football club is a company. You can't blame one man for a company underperforming. You need to look at all aspects of the organisation. You need to look at every single nook and cranny. And right now, injuries, player performance, results not going our way. I've watched a good few games where we're winning 2-0 one game. Then we let it slip. We're beating Roma, and then Roma scored from a set piece like the last couple of minutes, and I was even sitting before the corner was getting taken. I was like, they're scoring from this because it's prime Mourinho. He's gonna get this, and then they're gonna get the result, and they did. And it's not looking good. The injuries haven't helped. Mignon being injured for most of the seasons.
That's hurt them.
It's hurt them massively, and can't rely on Hernandez all season, and also we signed a lot of young guys, and they've been chucked to the deep end, and it's just been rough.
But it says at the top, Napoli are 13 clear now of Inter Milan.
Napoli have won it.
So fair play to them. I mean, they're going to be a dark horse in the Champions League, which we'll talk a little bit about. There's only a couple of weeks till the Champions League does resume.
Yeah.
We are not going to be Real Madrid, are we? Let's be clear. I mean, Real Madrid are doing very well in the league, actually. I think Barcelona got a little bit of a gap now. They do. They've got an 8-point gap now at the top, but still, yeah, we've got no chance to get Real Madrid and whatnot. You still confident for Chelsea, though?
I think it's... I'm an avid Dortmund supporter. I despise Bayern. I
don't despise them.
I despise them.
It's a bit harsh.
But obviously Chelsea are my main boys, and I'll be sitting there begrudgingly rooting for Dortmund to fail. But yeah, I think it's going to be an absolute fantastic game. I'm going to make sure I'm off work for it. And I'm going to sit.
You're going to have to quit your job for all these matches that you're going to have to want to watch. You're going to have to quit your job.
Are you saying that we're going to get far? Are you rooting for Chelsea because Liverpool are doing poor? Is that what you're...
Listen, at the end of the day, Liverpool have proven, even when we won it in 2005, we were struggling in the league to an extent. I mean, we only finished like 5th or 6th in the end. So and we went on that incredible run. I mean, we beat Juventus.
That'd be a good finish in the league now.
Oh yeah, obviously beat your boys Chelsea as well.
Yeah.
And then obviously anything could happen. Liverpool are well capable of lifting themselves up by then and somehow winning the Champions League. That's definitely not out of the cards, but it's going to be horrendously tough. But I think Chelsea are going to beat Dortmund. I think that's a pretty favourable tie for you.
We've also been there, beating Bayern at the Allianz Arena, and we had one of our worst league seasons under Abramovich, probably the worst actually, and we still managed to win it with Basingua and Ryan Bertrand and all that good stuff. But no, I'm going into it with some confidence, especially after the Fulham game. Yes, again, it was a draw, but I'm looking, and speaking about the Champions League, we Barry Shield didn't get in the squad.
I was going to say, actually, I was going to ask you this about Chelsea.
Aubameyang. But Aubameyang, the reason why Aubameyang's not in the squad, because apparently people today... LA, the team in LA, are negotiating to sign Aubameyang.
Yeah, he's done in European football.
And he'll be going to the MLS. That is what the negotiations have been. I think it's time. I was excited when Aubameyang signed for Chelsea because I've loved Aubameyang since he was at Dortmund.
He's lost his pace.
But he's...
And his attitude stinks.
I think he's lost the qualities that made him so good. He lost his leadership qualities. He got kicked out of the Arsenal team. He lost his captaincy for a good reason. He lost his pace, which, let's all be honest here, as FIFA supporters, that was one of the best things about Aubameyang, is his pace. And if you lose all those qualities that make you a good footballer, you're not going to be a good footballer and you're going to lose it. And I think if he goes to the MLS, he will find his pace because it's not a fast league. So he'll have a fun time down there. But
and loads of money as well.
And loads of money. So, His actions does stink, and as soon as I seen that he was in the Champions League squad, I'm sitting there going, don't care.
Why do you think Buddy Shield got left out?
I think it's just unlucky in his part.
Do you think there was a conversation he had to have where it was like, I need you to choose between you want playing the Prem or the Champions League?
Potentially,
maybe.
Yeah. I think they're going to go for.
He's starting for us at the moment as well, which is why it's so strange.
He's so good, but I think with that they're going to go right. We're going to save you for the league, and we're going to put the more experienced guys like Koulibaly and Thiago Silva and that they'll play the Champions League, and we'll go from there. But
how's he going to feel if you just go far, not being part of the playing?
He's just got to support the team at the end of the day, because even though he's not in the squad, he's still a Chelsea player, and you'll have to just bite his tongue there, and you'll have to just watch from the sidelines. But I think it shows how much trust the manager's got in him, because Badiashile is now going to be playing in the league constantly, and that's important because he's going to continue in his good performances to ensure that we might be in the competition next season. So he's got a good bit of responsibility on his shoulders. I wouldn't feel bad for him. He's been trusted since he's been in starting games, and he's got a nice partnership with Thiago Silva there, which that's the best two centre-back partnership I think we've got going right now is Thiago Silva and Badiashile. And now we get Mudryk, Enzo, who are in the Champions League squad, and I'm looking forward to that. I think the Dortmund game will be tough, but that is going to be tough regardless. Doesn't matter what team you're playing. It's Champions League. We're getting to those stages now where it's all the tough teams left in it, and we've just got to kick on and try do the fans proud until the end of the season. So, looking forward to that fixture.
Right. I've got a little fun segment to end this podcast.
Oh dear.
Noah. It is time for a records quiz.
Oh, I unprepared. I didn't get a chance to revise.
Nope, not at all.
Why?
I have got 5, 6, 7. I've got 10 records that I want you to tell me who has got the most out of each category. And you get a bonus point.
Bon Jovi.
If you get this season that they've done it in. So let's start off with an easy one. Most Premier League wins in a season.
Most Premier League wins in a season? Is it Chelsea?
It's not Chelsea.
It's not Chelsea?
No.
I thought it'd been the 05.
It's not Chelsea.
I mean, it's not Arsenal because they got a lot of draws in their invincible season.
It's not Arsenal.
City?
They've done it twice.
I'm sure they've done it a couple of years ago.
Which season are you referring to? They've done it twice.
Right, so is it...
There's another team in there as well.
Is it 1920?
That's not Manchester City.
That was yours.
It was us.
So it's... Ah, shit, yeah. Wait.
You just...
Bleep it.
We're not bleeping that, that's it. We're not gonna...
Oh, right. Is it...
The PG element of our podcast is gone.
Is it 1819?
18-19 and 17-18 for Manchester.
Oh, so it's back to back?
Yes.
Okay.
How many wins out of 38 did they win?
31.
Nope, 32. So you're off
I was gonna say it, but then I chose an odd number.
Right, next one. The fewest Premier League wins in a season. You should know this because this is actually, I think this is common knowledge. There's a particular season that a certain team had that everybody refers to. Time is ticking.
Was it Sheffield United?
It was not Sheffield United, no. They are not in the Premier League at the moment.
Was it last season?
No. Oh. It was 2007-08.
Oh, well, how the hell was I supposed to know?
Miller showing his lack of Premier League
knowledge. I had no time to revise. I need time to revise. Right, so...
The clock is ticking. You've got another 5 or 10 seconds.
Can I phone a friend?
You cannot.
No. Well, what kind of game show is this?
You have to have a friend to phone first.
Any friends? If this was a live stream, I'd be begging the supporters.
In 3,
I passed.
2, 1. It was Derby County in 2007.
I don't care about Derby County.
Do you know how many wins they got that season?
2.
1.
Oh my god. Who did he lose to?
It doesn't say.
Who
did they beat, you mean? I don't know who it was they beat, but yeah, Derby County with the fewest Premier League wins in a season.
It's probably one of the big boys they beat, probably.
Okay, let's see if we can find. Okay, most Premier League home wins in a season. This is easy. There's 4 teams.
Chelsea.
Done it. Chelsea is one of them. Which season? You've already mentioned it.
05-06.
Yes. The other teams were Manchester United in 2010-11, Man City in 2011-12, 18-19, and of course Liverpool 2019-20.
Was it 2011-12 the Aguero season?
It was.
See people, I'm not completely a fool.
Let's see if we can find
Sen-
some
see,
other ones.
Oh.
Which team has got the most consecutive Premier League home wins? Time is ticking.
Is it Chelsea?
It's not Chelsea.
United?
Ding, ding, ding. It's not. Ding 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 ding. This is
Derby!
Nope.
Didn't see the league.
You get one more guess.
City.
Nope. It's my boys, Liverpool 2019-20.
I didn't want to say.
24 home wins.
I didn't want to say use.
Oh, nice.
Just shows that I don't care about these games.
Okay, let's change it up a bit very quickly. The most fewest Premier League defeats in a season. This is easy.
That's Arsenal.
Yes. How many did they lose?
Well, they lost 0.
Well done.
It was
a trick question.
26 wins and 12 draws, was it not?
Big Arsenal fan, you.
Well, no, it's even numbers, you know.
Okay, most Premier League home defeats in a season.
Well, is that still not? Is that just Derby?
No.
Well, how many draws did they get? Sheffield United?
No. It was last season, this.
I don't remember last season. I'm an old man. I'm 25 years old. I'm an old man. Starting to see grey hairs.
This is the last question, by the way. So I'll relieve you.
Who was in the league last season? See, I've got.
They got relegated. There you go. You got a choice of 3 now. They got relegated last season. Ding, 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 ding,
Oh.
we need to edit this properly. We need to have like a timer going in the background for this.
Are you gonna do the countdown? Do
And what's your answer?
Who in the?
No, you gotta give me an answer. Come on.
I'm trying. I don't know.
Watford.
Oh yeah.
You're rubbish at this.
I don't care about these 10-pot teams.
I don't want you on my quiz team.
See, I got the City, the Arsenal, and the Chelsea ones big because they're the elite teams. They're the teams that they're the teams that I should care about. Not Derby County and bloody Watford.
This is outrageous. Well, Muller, you've shown your lack of Premier League knowledge.
No, I've shown
well
my lack of terrible team knowledge.
Yeah, I don't think you got a single one right apart from the Chelsea 05-06 one.
That just shows that I'm a Chelsea fan and I know some of my Chelsea stuff. It just shows people that you don't get time to revise.
You don't need to revise, just know.
If I know, young.
I tell you what, this is another question. Actually, you should know the top of your head. Who scored the first ever Premier League goal? Back in '92. Who scored the first ever Premier League goal?
Wasn't born then. How am I supposed to know that?
Brian Dean, Sheffield United against United.
I doubt it.
This is just common knowledge.
Common knowledge. Right, people. This is a lesson to all the young viewers out there. Revise for tests because
I don't need to revise. I just know them off by heart.
No, he's got the.
That's not on here.
He's the question man.
I am the quizmaster.
He's a quizmaster, so he has all the answers.
I'll tell you what, then. See next week. I'll let you ask me a couple of questions then.
Oh dear God!
So
this man doesn't sleep, people.
I do sleep. That's why I'm so awake.
He's got bags under his eyes that are big enough to hold all the bribe money that City are going to pay the commission to not deduct points off them. Yeah.
Well, that is this week's quiz, Muller. I'm gonna start a tally. So you got 1 out of 10 then, or I think it was 10 questions we asked.
I would count that one I got right as 10, so I get 10 out of 10.
Okay. It's typical Chelsea fan making up their own rules. But anyway,
we've come this far.
Let us know if you like that little extra segment. Just a wee.
I thought it was horrible. I thought it was.
It's the fact that I didn't tell you about it. Maybe I should have told you.
Should get the countdown if we edit this properly. Bleep out the S word, and also, get the countdown thing on. I think that'd be a nice sick part of it, you know, because everyone does a bit of countdown. 8 out of 10.
To be fair, we could add we could add sauce and do a proper countdown. We'll do that for next week. Will do that.
Everyone knows a little bit of countdown, but if 8 out of 10 cats, you know.
No, not that version.
Don't you get a bit Jimmy Carr?
I do, but it's a bit. It's not very PG though, is it?
Yeah.
Alright, well that's going to do it for this episode of the Good Vs Evil podcast. I hope you have all enjoyed it once again. Let us know if you've got any strong opinions on everything that we spoke about in the comments down below.
And if you haven't enjoyed it, express your opinion on Twitter and berate us with your hatred.
Don't do that. No, please, don't do that. Why are you encouraging this?
I'm hurt after that quiz. I was attacked with knowledge that I think if I had time to revise, I would have got 10 out of 10.
You don't have to revise for everything. You just know this off by heart.
I barely remember what I had for breakfast this morning.
You're 1 year older than me. You don't get to play this card.
The abuse of alcohol has eaten away at my brain cells. If you were to ask me to name 2 pieces of fruit, I could only name you 1.
Banana and strawberries?
No.
That's 2 pieces of fruit?
No.
What do you mean?
What are bananas and strawberries?
Fruit?
I don't know what they are.
What?
No.
What are you on about? what are you
I am now confusing this man because he confused me with that quiz.
But it's... anyway, that will do it from the Good Vs Evil podcast. Hope you've all enjoyed. Have a very good week. And we will see you all at the next one. Take care all.
Ta-ta!